Welcome back to a brand new video on the channel, guys. So what I have for you guys today, we are going to be talking about some FIFA 19 ratings for the championship. Now, last year on FIFA 18, I'd say that EA, it was a bit of a mixed bag really with how they rated the championship players. Some people were criminally underrated and some people were just drastically overrated. So in today's video, guys, we're going to be counting down 10 players who I think either deserve to be upgraded on this year's FIFA or who deserve to be downgraded. So let me know in the comments down below who are the players in your team and who are the players in the championship in general who you think either deserve an upgrade or a downgrade for this year's upcoming FIFA. Also, as I am only talking about 10 players in today's video, 5 upgrades and 5 downgrades, there are of course going to be a ton of players who I've left out for this video. So if you would like to see another one of these where we talk about some FIFA 19 ratings, make sure to leave a like on the video. As well as that, make sure you do subscribe for some regular championship content. At the moment, we are currently closing in on 10,000 subscribers, which is absolutely mental, guys. So if you are new to the channel, make sure you do subscribe. But that's enough of that, guys. Let's go ahead and start talking about some of these players. So we'll start out the video by talking over 5 players who I think deserve to be downgraded, who will be playing in the championship this season. And in the second half of the video, we'll talk about the upgrades. So without further ado, let's jump into some of these. So the first player who I think does deserve a downgrade going into this year's FIFA, it is going to be John O'Shea. Of course, this season he has moved to Reading, and it was a bit of a funny transfer when I did see it come up, to be completely honest. You know, last season playing for Sunderland, they went ahead and conceded 80 goals last season in the championship, of course. John O'Shea being at the heart of that defence last year, he really didn't have a great year for them. Being 37 years old now, his legs do seem to have gone a little bit. You know, when I went to the Stadium of Light last season, seeing Sean Maguire playing against John O'Shea, it was painful at times. He's quite slow on the ball as well, which surprised me as to why Reading bought him, because they are a side who likes to pass out from the back, really. I mean, one thing you will bring to Reading without a doubt is going to be some experience into their back line, but being 37 years old, he just seems to have lost it, in my opinion. So what I've gone ahead and done, I've gone ahead and downgraded him by 7 to a 66. I'd say that that rating pretty much reflects what he's capable of doing these days, really. And to just give a bit of context about his rating last year, being rated 73, that meant that he was higher rated than players like Luke Ayling, Jack O'Connell, Joe Bryan, Ben Davis. So I think it's more than likely that we will be seeing John O'Shea being quite heavily bumped down this season. I think 66 is fair. What do you guys think? Then coming in as our next player who I also think deserves a downgrade, that is going to be Nelson Oliveira from Norwich City. Now, last season it wasn't a brilliant season for him, really. He only went ahead and scored 8 goals, and he definitely had some dramatic moments last season. The thing that annoyed me more than anything about Oliveira was his attitude at times last season. You could just tell that he didn't want to be there at times, and I think he does deserve a downgrade for this year's FIFA. Obviously, he had a really dramatic start to last season with that away game against Fulham. I think it was a late equaliser that he scored after coming off the bench. He, of course, took his shirt off and then put it up in front of the manager, and there was a bit of a battle between him and Cameron Jerome as to who was Norwich's first choice for that first half of the season. But even when he was the main man, his performances were mediocre at best, really. You know, you'd expect from a 74 rated player on FIFA that they will be bagging in, you know, double figures, looking to bag 15 plus. Oliveira, I don't really think is that type of striker. Even so, if you look at his goal scoring record in the championship, it's never really been phenomenal. His highest scoring season was only 11. That was 2 seasons ago. So Oliveira, I decided to go ahead and bump him down to a 71. It is fairly likely that he will be leaving Norwich in this transfer window, but that's yet to be seen. But I think around about a 71 is more fair for a player like Oliveira. And then coming up next for another downgrade, Birmingham fans, you may hate me for this one, but it is going to be Cheikh Ndoye. Now, if you think about FIFA 18, you know, you think about the highest rated players in the championship, you may think it might be someone like Ruben Neves, Tom Kearney, Diogo Jota, or Robert Snodgrass. You know, last season in the championship, we had a lot of very good players, but no. On FIFA 18, at the start of the game, Cheikh Ndoye was the highest rated player, being 78 rated. Now, I mean, that's just mental. I mean, it's Cheikh Ndoye, for goodness sake. Towards the tail end of last season, Cheikh Ndoye did actually become a bit of a cult hero at Birmingham City, but it's important to consider the type of player he is. You know, he's an enforcer in the midfield. When he's on the ball, he's not brilliant. That was probably showcased the best when Steve Cottrell was the Birmingham manager last season, and he decided to play Cheikh Ndoye as a number 10. You know, you'd expect your number 10 to be athletic, creative, looks to break the lines. No. Cheikh Ndoye was playing as a number 10 last season, and when he was played there, you know, his passing ability and his vision on the ball isn't brilliant. You know, he is quite slow on the turn and that sort of stuff. Off the ball, you know, if you get him in the midfield with the right people around him, he can be quite effective as that sort of bullish midfielder, but on the ball, not brilliant. I think it would be more fair if his rating was around about 70 for this year's FIFA, so I decided to go ahead and knock him down by 8. That may seem a bit harsh, but I mean, let's be honest, he doesn't deserve to be a 78 rated player. Then coming up next on the list, we have Saido Berahino. I mean, where do we start with this player? It has been over 2 years since he last scored a goal in a competitive fixture, and he's a striker. His last goal in a competitive game came on the 27th of February 2016, and this is a striker that we're talking about, obviously. There was one time where Saido Berahino, you know, he was wanted by Spurs. He was the new kid on the block after that breakthrough year at West Brom. I think at one point West Brom were holding out for 30 million off Spurs for Berahino. That of course never happened, and since his arrival at Stoke, he's not really hit the ground running. Since his last goal in 2016, he's attempted 60 shots, of course none of them being successful, and he's also going ahead and missed 3 penalties as well. But my question to you guys is, do you think Berahino will be successful in the Championship? Currently he's actually 16 to 1 to be the Championship's top scorer, despite the fact he's not scored a goal in 2.5 years. I think he did score in a friendly for Stoke a couple of weeks ago, but maybe if he gets his confidence up at the start of the season, the Championship may just be what he needs at the moment. But I think it's more than fair to say he will be getting downgraded. I've dropped him down to a 70. Last season somehow he was a 76, but I think he'll definitely be a silver this year. I think 70 is about fair. Then the last player we have to talk about who definitely deserves a downgrade in FIFA 19 is going to be Micah Richards. Now I wouldn't even blame you guys if you forgot this guy existed. His last game for Aston Villa came in October 2016. And what's probably most mad about Micah Richards is he's on £35,000 a week at Aston Villa, and he's not even played in 2 years. I saw a tweet the other week meaning that in that time he's accumulated over £3 million for literally doing nothing. He's not playing at all for Aston Villa, so realistically Aston Villa just needs to get rid of him, but who's going to want him at the moment? In terms of his rating on FIFA 19, I mean, I don't even know. Is he any good at football anymore? No one knows, because no one's seen him play recently, but I've gone ahead and dropped him down to a 67. For all we know, he could be absolutely abysmal by now. We just don't know because he doesn't play anymore, but he's definitely going to be getting a downgrade on this FIFA. Being 74 rated for a player who's not played in 2 years, I don't think that sits right with me. So guys, there are some of the players who I think deserve a downgrade going into FIFA 19. Now let's move on into talking about some players who I think are deserving of an upgrade. So coming up first, we have Ryan Woods of Brentford. In my opinion, he is probably one of the most underrated players in the Championship. I think a player like Ryan Woods would be able to do a job for any Championship team, really. You know, he'd go ahead and fit into any team, really, and he would do a very good job there. Off the ball and on the ball, I think he really is excellent. His wide range of passes and his energetic play style makes him, in my opinion, probably one of Brentford's, if not their most important player. You know, we've seen Brentford lose a couple of players lately like Josephoon and Egan. In my opinion, they're not huge losses for Brentford, but if Ryan Woods was to leave, that would be a monumental loss for them. You know, he has been linked away from the club recently, but they're going to have to do everything they need to do to keep hold of him because he is a superb footballer. Going into this year's FIFA, I think he deserves about a 74 rated card. I think he was quite underrated in last year's FIFA, so I think 74 would be fair. Next up, another player who definitely deserves an upgrade on this year's FIFA is going to be Bradley Dack of Blackburn Rovers. Last season in League One, he was absolutely ripping it up, and he's a player who I have admired for a long time. You know, from his time at Gillingham, I've always wanted Preston to go in for him, but now stepping up to the Championship, I'm excited to see what he can bring. Last season in League One, he went ahead and won the EFL League One Player of the Year award, and he more than deserved it, scoring 16 goals from midfield. He's a goal-scoring midfielder who can pick a pass most certainly, and going up to the Championship, I am excited to see what he can bring. I think going into this year's FIFA, I think he deserves an upgrade by about up 3. You know, I decided to go ahead and give him a 71 rated card. I'd say that's fair. You know, we've not seen him in the Championship yet, but from what he showed from his time last season at Blackburn, I think he'll make the step up comfortably. And then we have Lewis Grabban, another player who I think is more than deserving of an upgrade this FIFA. Last time he was rated 69, and considering some of the other ratings of strikers in the Championship, considering that he scored 20 goals last season, I think it's more than fair that he's rated around 73, 74 going into this year's FIFA, of course. Moving to Nottingham Forest in this transfer window, I'm very excited to see what he can do, you know, with service from players like Diaz, Goncalves and Carvalho. value, I think that Grabban is going to be in for another top season with Nottingham Forest, and that should be reflected in his rating. In my opinion, I'm going ahead and bumped him up by 5. I think he deserves around about a 74 going into this year's FIFA. You know, last season he scored 12 goals in a Sunderland side who was just awful all year round, really. So that deserves an upgrade more than anything. So going into this year's FIFA, I think 74 is fair. Another player who had a superb season last time was, of course, Martyn Waghorn. I decided to go ahead and give him a +4 upgrade going into FIFA 19. He probably was the best buy of last season, you know, especially a bargain buy. I think Ipswich in the end got him for around about 250k from Rangers, and considering that he got into double figures for both goals and assists last season, he definitely deserves an upgrade from his 69 rating last year. Of course, it is yet to be seen whether or not he will actually stay at Ipswich. That's quite an interesting one at the moment. You know, we're seeing quite a lot of teams being heavily linked with him. In terms of Ipswich's season, they're going to have to do everything they can to battle to keep hold of Martyn Waghorn. The left foot he's got on him, you know, he can take set pieces, he scored a few last season, and his darting runs into the box makes him a clinical goal scorer in the Championship. So I'd say that around 73, that'd be fair for Waghorn. Then, of course, to wrap up the video, I had to include last season's top scorer, Matej Vydra. Last season, only being a 70 rated player, going into this year's FIFA, I think he deserves to be a gold card. So I decided to go ahead and give him an upgrade of +5. I mean, when you consider he was scoring 21 goals in the Championship last season, mostly playing as an attacking midfielder as well, that's got to warrant a gold card this FIFA. The interesting thing about Vydra is we're not sure where he's actually going to end up at the end of this transfer window. At one point, he was heavily linked with a move for Leeds United. We're not sure if that's going to be coming off anymore realistically, but with the way that Frank Lampard has set up so far in pre-season, you know, I believe he's been playing with a 4-3-3. Where does Vydra fit into that system? You know, I think you get the best out of him when he is played as that centre forward or that attacking midfielder. He's alright on the wing or as a lone striker, but he's never really excelled there when he's played there for Watford or Derby in the past. So maybe that could be a sign that he will be moving on in this transfer window. But nevertheless, he definitely deserves an upgrade going into this year's FIFA. I've given him a +5. A big shooting upgrade is definitely needed, and overall, yeah, he's just a top player in the Championship. So guys, there you have it. There are 10 players from the Championship who I think either deserve an upgrade or a downgrade going into this year's FIFA. So guys, let me know, do you agree with my list or not? Let me know in the comments down below. Let me know also, who do you think from your club most deserves an upgrade and deserves a downgrade going into FIFA 19? But like I said guys, I will now wrap it up for this video, so if you have enjoyed, make sure you do leave a like. It is always massively appreciated. As well as that, make sure you do subscribe for some regular Championship content. Like I said, we are now closing in on 10,000 subscribers, so if you are new around here, please do subscribe. But like I said, thank you so much for watching guys, and I'll see you all in the next one.